people today. They could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer.
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
Your money lives longer.
I just bought that.
I just sold that.
And your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Welcome to AARP Illinois' virtual event. It's so wonderful to have you with us. AARP is on a mission to connect with individuals across various communities, especially those aged 50 and above. We're here to listen, understand, and address the unique needs of you and your community as we age. Our goal is to enrich your experience by expanding our local activities, providing opportunities for you to discover and engage with all that life has to offer right here in your own community and virtually. As we journey through today's event, we invite you to consider joining our dedicated team of AARP volunteers. It's a chance to make a meaningful impact and help us better serve those 50 plus across the nation. Connect with us and be a part of this vibrant movement toward positive change. Welcome, and let's make this event both fun and transformative.
Hey there, AARP. This is Chef Holly Rutherford coming to you today from Morton, Illinois. We have got a couple of fantastic holiday desserts for you today. One of them has become a tradition in my family. I have to make them every year or there just might be a mutiny. And the other one has some familiar flavors in a new way. So the one we're going to start off with today, of course you can't think of Christmas desserts without thinking of Christmas cookies. So we are starting out today with a Chewy hot cocoa cookie. I make these every year. My family requests them. Like I said, there might be a mutiny if I didn't make them. But they're chocolatey, they're fudgy, they're chewy, they have marshmallows, they're delicious. So I'm gonna start off in the bowl of my stand mixer. You could use a hand mixer as well. I'm gonna get 3 large eggs. I know these days that's half a fortune right there. But I got 3 large eggs right in the bowl. And I've got a cup of brown sugar. You can use light or dark. Dark brown sugar does have a little bit more molasses in it. It has a little bit stronger flavor. I personally like that about the dark brown sugar. That molasses also helps your baked goods retain moisture, and so that's going to help you get like a nice chewy cookie. But today I've just got light brown sugar, so I've got a cup of lightly packed light brown sugar, my 3 eggs into the mixer. I've got my paddle attachment on here, and we're going to get these guys nice and fluffy. So that's doing its thing right over here. I've just got a small pan over low heat. This is just 2 cups of chocolate chips. I've just got good old semi-sweet chocolate chips here and 1 stick of butter. We are just melting those together. And then we're gonna set them aside to cool a little bit before they end up out of the oven. Okay, now we can see here, it's nice and lightly colored. It's got some good air into it. So next we are gonna start adding in the rest of our ingredients. We are gonna do some vanilla extract. We're gonna do a little bit of espresso powder. Espresso, or even coffee, helps bring out the chocolatiness of chocolate. It doesn't take much. For these, I'm just gonna do a teaspoon. This is just instant espresso powder. You could also just use instant coffee. but you'd be amazed at how much like richer that chocolate flavor is with just that little bit of espresso. And then I've got some vanilla extract here. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of that. We're just gonna mix that together just a little bit. Okay, so we got our vanilla mixed in, our little bit of espresso mixed in. Now we're gonna start adding in our dry ingredients. This recipe actually takes dried hot cocoa mix. You can make your own, you can get store-bought. I'm just using store-bought today. Takes 1/4 cup. Just helps add some of that authentic flavor. And I've got about 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour here. And then we have our baking powder. We need 1.5 teaspoons of this. So this one's a 1/2 teaspoon, so we'll just do 3 1/2 teaspoons. And then we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt. There we go. All right, I'll give this a little mixing mix. Okay, you can see it's starting to get pretty thick, and it's supposed to. Now from here, we're gonna take our lovely melted chocolate and butter mixture here. And then this is gonna go in. This is also going to help that chewy factor. A lot of recipes will have you start with creaming butter and sugar together, but if you use more brown sugar and if you melt your butter, that will help add to the chewy factor, which is how I like a chewy cookie. Now we got this up, we're just going to give this a little bit of a scrape. You just got to make sure you're scraping down your sides. Make sure everything gets all mixed in there. Back down we go. A little more mixing. Okay, and it doesn't take too long. We're just trying to make sure it's all mixed all the way through. Look, it looks so fudgy. So yummy. Scrape all that off of our pedal attachment there. Look at that. Yum yum. These are so good. They're addicting. Seriously. Now, a lot of recipes will tell you to chill the dough and then scoop it. For me, that's a little hard on my hands because that dough gets really stiff. So what I like to do is scoop it and then chill it. Now the reason we're chilling it is to help the cookies retain their shape. If we skip this step, they would spread too much. We would just have like a whole sheet pan of cookie. And that's not what we're going for. So I just have a little cookie scoop here. I always like to use these because then your cookies are all gonna be the same size, so they'll bake evenly. And especially with something like this, this cookie dough is very sticky. So this works perfect. So I just get a nice even scoop on my parchment lined sheet pan here. Of course, you can't have hot cocoa without marshmallows, and we'll get to that. You absolutely do have marshmallows. They're just a little later in the process. I tried one time just like mixing in mini marshmallows, and it just didn't work that great. They kind of just melted out of the cookies, and when marshmallows melt and then re-solidify, they get like almost hard. Okay, so I've got my 12 cookies on my sheet pan here. I'm going to stick this in the freezer for just about 10 minutes or so. And while those are chilling, we're going to get started on our next recipe. So while our cookie dough is chilling, we are going to go ahead and start on our next dessert. We are going to do a no-bake gingerbread cheesecake. I love gingerbread. I feel like it's highly underappreciated as far as desserts go. I love all the nice spices in it. I'm going to start off with my crust here. I've just got a bunch of crushed ginger snap cookies. I'm going to take about 2 cups of my crushed ginger snap cookies, and then I've got about 4 tablespoons of melted butter here, so it's about half a stick. Get all my butter in there. And then I always just like to stir this with a fork. I feel like it does a good job of making sure there's no like lumps in there. We just want to give this a little mix. So kind of what we are looking for is for it to look like wet sand. What the heck does that mean? It starts to come together, but we're not seeing like a ball of dough form. So you can see here, if I grab a handful, I can kind of press them together and they hold shape a little bit. That's what we're looking for. And then here I've just got a regular old 9-inch glass pie pan. I'm going to dump my crust mixture in here. And then I'm just going to use a spoon to kind of spread it out. Use my fingers too here. I'm getting it up the sides just a little bit. There we go. Nothing too crazy there. Now, if you did this with like a gluten-free ginger snap cookie, then this recipe would be gluten-free. How easy is that? All right, so we got that ready. Let's get our filling made. We've got our old friend, the stand mixer back here. So versatile. I have one at home. I love it. I use it all the time. So here I have 24 ounces of softened cream cheese. This is going to be 3 blocks. And you just want to make sure that they're nice and soft so that they mix together smoothly with your other ingredients. Those go right in there. Then here I've got a cup of powdered sugar. Works really well in no-bake type desserts because it's very fine and dissolves well. And then of course one of the main flavors of gingerbread, some molasses. A little trick that I have found, if you spray your measuring cup with just a little bit of cooking spray, it helps it come right out. That's for anything sticky. If you're using molasses, honey, corn syrup, just give it a little bit of a spray before you dump it in there, and it'll come right out. There's our molasses. Let's give this a little bit of a mix. All right, now let's start getting our other flavors in there. It's still kind of a swirly mess right now, but that's okay because we're not done yet. First, obviously, we gotta have some ground ginger, predominant flavor in gingerbread. So the ground ginger, we are gonna do 1 teaspoon of dried ground ginger. The bottle will cooperate with me. we are gonna do 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I am a sucker for anything cinnamony. I just love it. Cinnamon. Get back on there. And then we are gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Quarter teaspoon of ground cloves. And I'm gonna do like a scant 1/4 teaspoon, so like barely. Cloves are very strong. There we go. So you just wanna kind of watch when you're adding those in there, okay? All right, we got all of our spices in here now, and we're gonna get this mixed up the rest of the way. Let it mix a sec, and then I'm going to scrape the sides and my paddle here just to make sure everything is getting mixed in thoroughly. Okay, there we go. Okay, that looks good. We're just looking for it to be smooth, to be cohesive. It's all nice and even. Smells fantastic. All right, let's get our paddle out of the way. Okay. Now from here, I've just got some whipped cream. I made homemade, but you can absolutely just use some store-bought, like a tub of whipped cream. This is going to be the equivalent of about 2 cups of whipped cream that I'm going to work on folding in here. Now first, we want to take just a little bit, and this we're going to straight up just stir in there. What this is going to do, this is going to start lightening our mixture so that when we start actually folding stuff in, it does not fight us as much. It stays nice and light. Okay, so we got that in there good. Another nice big scoop. Now to fold, that pretty much just means to stir gently without deflating. So this is often something you'll see if you're putting in whipped cream or whipped eggs, like egg whites. And I am just going to go around the edge and just bring it over. Around the edge and just bring it over. So this is kind of what we are doing. We are folding. This is going to help that whipped cream stay fluffy so that it then gives our cheesecake that fluffy texture. Once we've got that pretty decently incorporated, we're going to get the rest of it. And get that folded in. Now when you're folding something, you don't want to overfold, because then you are just essentially undoing all the work you just did. You are going to end up deflating your mix. So if there are still a few streaks of that whipped cream left, totally fine. So I've got mine all folded in here. You can see there's just a few little white splotches left there. Totally fine. I'm gonna grab my crust. Get this in here. It smells so good. gently push it around to fill our pan. We just want to make sure that we're not digging up all that crust on the bottom there. Okay, perfect. Decently smooth. Now you can put this in your refrigerator. It'll take several hours to set up that way. I would give it at least 4, if not more. I like to do overnight. You can also do this in the freezer, and then you can cut your time down to about 2 hours. So we are going to go ahead and get this in our freezer, and we are going to check on our cookie dough. Our cookie dough has had plenty of time to chill in the freezer while we were getting our no-bake cheesecake put together. It's quite stiff now. We're not looking for frozen solid. We're just looking for nice and stiff. This is going to help it hold its shape in the oven, and it is also going to help the chewy factor. So I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I'm going to put these in there for about 8 minutes. And then when they are almost done, then we are going to add the marshmallows and finish baking them. All right, so our hot cocoa cookies have been in the oven for about 8 minutes. I'm going to grab them and show you the next step here to get our marshmallows involved. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. They're starting to get all puffy. They're starting to crack. Perfect. So then what I have here, I just took some of the big marshmallows and I just cut them in half. I just used kitchen scissors. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to press a half on each cookie. I just push it down a little bit, helps it stay in place. If you just lightly set it on top, they tend to slide off. And then these are going to go back in the oven for just about another 4 minutes. That's going to melt the marshmallows. They'll start to get a little bit of browning on them. Finish cooking the cookies. And then we'll get to see the final product. While our cookies are finishing up in the oven, I got our no-bake cheesecake out here, our gingerbread no-bake cheesecake. It's had time to set up in the freezer. It smells amazing. And we are going to make some cinnamon whipped cream to put on top just to finish it off, okay? So over here to the mixer. I'm just going to put on my whisk attachment here. Homemade whipped cream is so stinking easy. I have 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Then I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. I don't like mine overly sweet. Get this started. I would start it on low just until that powdered sugar gets incorporated so you don't end up with it everywhere. And then after that I turn it up to high, let it do its thing for a minute. Okay, once it starts to look frothy and foamy, then we're going to add in our flavors. We are going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. All right, back we go. This process really does go so quickly. It's already almost done. What we're looking for is it will start to thicken, it will start to get more volume, and then we are going to look for medium to stiff peaks, which I will show you. It'll start to look like whipped cream. Okay. Be there. So what we are looking for is when you get some on your mixer and pull it out, it stands up. That is stiff peaks. If it curls over slightly, that is medium peaks. If it doesn't hold its shape, it's soft peaks, it's not ready yet. Alrighty. Back over here to our yummy no-bake cheesecake. Just gonna get a rubber spatula. Get our yummy cinnamon whipped cream out onto the top. Just give that a little bit of a spread. I still got a few of my crushed ginger snaps here, so we'll sprinkle some of those over the top. There we go. Looks delicious. It smells amazing. I wish you guys had a smell over here. It's got those wonderful warming spices that we love in the wintertime. And our cookies should be done, so let's check them. Oh, look at those. The marshmallows are nice and puffy. Now as they sit and they cool, they will go down a little bit. Totally normal. Starting to get just a little bit of color on them. If you want a little bit more color on them, you can just leave them in there a couple minutes longer. In my house, I always have to get after my husband and my daughter to let them cool before you eat them, or you're gonna burn yourself. Alrighty. Get a couple out here on our plate. And there we got milk and cookies for Santa. All ready to go. Like I said, my family now demands these every year. You won't regret it. They're so good. That's all for today. Thank you for tuning in, AARP